Good morning, good morning. It's 11 degrees Celsius, 52 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a beautiful, clear, perfect morning here in the 3.5 million hectare wilderness wonderland that is the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. And we're on a small 1,500 hectare piece, pretty much in the middle of it. And we're going to try and find some of the delights that this wilderness has to offer this morning. My name is James Hendry. On camera today we've got Phil. Hello, Phil. Phil is trussed up his knee. He broke it playing some touch rugby the other day, which is a little sad, but he'll survive. In the control room we have Tara, and Eugene is frantically trying to fix Wendy with his screwdrivers, computers and various other things that basically look like a toolbox from the dark arts. So we're thankful for his efforts. And then also back at camp and in bed is Andrew and Brent as they wait for a bit of light, and then they'll come and help us track, dependent on Wendy's progress. Please remember, we love your comments, we love your questions, we love everything you have to say to us, well, most of the time. Hashtag Safari Live if you're modern enough to be on Twitter. Questions at wildearth.tv if you're on the email. Don't bother to send us any handwritten notes. The South African Post Office has been on strike for the last 8 months. Thank you very much, especially to the Zoomies who tracked Mvula coming across the Gari Dam wall last night. I think it was about 8:30. You make a real contribution to our operation and help us a huge amount. And you probably don't realize that you make a fairly large contribution to African wildlife conservation as well, through your showcasing of the wonders that we have out here. So a special shout out and a thanks to you. Our plan this morning is to head out towards the Arathusa side of things. That's the western sector for anybody who's new to us. And we're going to see what we can find there. Mvula, for those who don't know, is a male leopard about 10 years old who we tracked yesterday. We had very fortunate, excuse me, it's cold, my lips are cold. We were very fortunate to have him for both game drives yesterday, which was just wonderful. So we're going to head off to Arathusa. He was heading in a westerly direction. We're probably going to let Brent try and follow up on him, and we're going to see what else has come across to Arathusa. I'm really hoping that we might have some sort of wild dog interaction. I know that the packs in the area are starting to den, and it would just be very special to be able to find some of them on the hunt, as it were, waiting to feed their babies. Right, so contributions, keep them flowing. At the moment, you've got my ugly mug for the next 3 hours. Maybe we'll be lucky with and see Brent's model-esque face sometime during the morning, but otherwise it's you and me. Here we go. We're now on the southern boundary, just about, and we're going to head west and go terra incognito. Right, so you can see now we find ourselves on the southern boundary. Sorry, I think I just saw a termite mound, but just in case it's not. It is a termite mound. We're going to drive pretty slowly in these low light conditions so that we don't miss any tracks that may or may not be crossing the road. The road always represents the sort of story of what went on in the night. So far today we've seen quite a few hyena tracks. They like to be active mainly at night. A few civet tracks. buffalo also grazing during the cold. And you can just see, I'm not sure, yeah, the camera is picking it up. At the end of the road there, you can see the mist that is forming in the little depressions and valleys. On this chilly day. Not the coldest morning we've had. We had I think it went down to 4 degrees at one stage, which for us is appalling. You can see the mist still on the road just in front of us. It's a lovely feeling driving through it. Very fresh, slightly eerie. Oh, well, I wonder if we can get those. Nothing that's going to run away from us. There's some beautiful spiders' webs just caught there in the morning mist. You see them there, Phil? It's really going to be worth trying to have a look at them, everyone. So we'll just zoom in there. These are the nests of the tropical tent web spider. The light is very tricky, so I'll be most impressed at the full moment. There we go, he's got them. There they go. Lovely, beautiful, well done. That's a tropical tent web spider, and unlike an orb web spider, which is the traditional spider that you think of when you feel terrified, that will put a sort of, I suppose the easiest way to describe it is the type of web that Spider-Man might build, that will catch an insect flying at a sort of horizontal angle to it. Those webs are used as sort of like a net, like a trapeze artist's net, and any insect that flies past it will probably be hit by those knockdown threads, which you can see. Those are the ones sort of coming up from in a conical fashion from the net, and the insect will fall, or whatever it is, will fall into that net and be devoured by the spider. It's quite interesting. A lot of a spider kills its prey, not so much with the venom. Well, it does kill it with the venom, but the venom is not necessarily for killing itself. It's actually a digestive enzyme. So a lot of the spiders will bite what they eat, and the insides of the hapless insect that's been caught will be sort of liquefied within its exoskeleton, and that's why you see spiders, they bite their prey, truss them up, and then leave them. And that's for the enzymes to work, and then they'll come back to that sort of hard exoskeleton, make a hole, and suck out the insides a bit later. It's rather grim for this time of the morning, but at least they make very beautiful nests. Everyone's got to eat. Hello, Bugsy on Twitter. Good morning and welcome. You'd like to know why the vehicle is vibrating. The roads are fairly uneven, and so we have to sort of make do as best we can. It's 2 ring-necked doves flying off in front of us. So we try and drive as smoothly as possible, but sometimes the corrugations in the road make it difficult. We've tried all sorts of different camera mounts, and we're continuing to try different things, but it's very difficult to try and create something that will remain sort of totally smooth. So Bugsy, sorry about that. We'll try and be as smooth as possible. Ahee! Swifamba njani?
Famba kahle.
Nditsakile kumvona namunhla.
Tsakile.
Amikumanga nchumu.
Lotho.
Okay, alright. Tangene Arathusa.
Ya. Yikona yingwe le.
Okay, kui.
First one man.
Okay. Kensile ngoku. Alright, nifambe kahle. Itabonani. Enjoy your drive, everyone. Sorry, everybody, to ignore you slightly there. I was just getting a bit of an update. Apparently, there is a leopard on Arathusa, and we've just moved on to Arathusa. So we'll see if we can get an update there and go that way. Bugsy, I'm afraid this little road's going to be a little bumpy for the next few minutes, but then you should be all right. Impala. Beautiful. We're just going to have a quick look at these impala. Hello, Claire in New York. You ask a very nice question. Thank you for it. You say, you make mention of the fact that I have discussed the innate fear that animals have of us when we're on foot. And they do indeed have that during the day. And you want to know, is it the same at night? The answer is not really. It's a very good question. I would, in this area, fairly happily view a pride of lions on foot during the day. At night, I certainly wouldn't want to do that. They definitely develop confidence at night. That's their sort of time. Lion, especially leopard. Look, there are incidents of leopards killing people. They're not that, they're fairly few and far between, and normally it's an old or sick individual, but often that is at night. So, I mean, I have seen leopard at night by mistake on foot in camp, and they do normally just sort of walk away or run off, slink off into the bush. But certainly there's a very different element at night. Excellent question. Thanks, Claire. All right, let us push on from these unconfiding impala, hiding behind some Strychnos madagascarensis trees. Right, will you excuse me for 1 second? I'm just going to see if I can get an update on that leopard that they've seen there. Any station in the West Arathusa property. So far, no luck. Any station Arathusa be copied. Any station Arathusa be copied. Any station Arathusa be copied. Morning. Can you give me an update for the West today? Sorry, can you just go with that again? I lost you. Copy, thanks. Do you know if that's within our traversing area? Copy, thanks. Is that within our traversing area? Copy, I'd like to make my way there if I can. Is there space? No rush at all. Will you just keep me posted, please? Thanks very much. Now, that update, everybody, apparently Tingana has been found. There is quite a lot of activity around him at the moment, so we can't go there straight away, which is quite a good thing, I think. I don't want to be there when there's too many people. But what is interesting is that I want to compare him with Mvula. There appears to be some form of territorial dispute between them, and I would really like to be able to see the difference. So please excuse me if I suddenly disappear from you. It's because the radio is starting to talk in my ear. I'm not great at multitasking. Hello, Sandy in Indiana. Lovely question here. I'm just going to stop and we'll look at these long-tailed shrike while I answer it. Sandy, you want to know about the tarantula and spiders that are similar here, and I'm glad that you described the tarantula as beautiful, because it is a beautiful spider. We have something similar here, and it's called the baboon spider. Now, the baboon spider looks very similar to a tarantula, and very similar sort of strategies, I think, but they don't have those. I think the tarantula, if I'm not mistaken, in North America, has got a sort of shoots out its hairs as a defense, and as well as the bite. Our baboon spiders tend to be, they can give you a nip, but they're not particularly poisonous. They look very similar to a tarantula, but you can happily have them walking on your hand and around your body if you're not arachnophobic. If you are arachnophobic, a baboon spider will probably cause you a heart attack. Right, great question. Nice to hear somebody describe a spider as beautiful. Very misty morning now. Here comes the sun. Hello, Dance Anyway. You want some clarification on my leopard answer there? Sorry, just excuse me 1 second. Last station, are you calling? Affirmative. Copy. Is there a space there? No problem, thanks, no rush. Dance Anyway. So you wanted to know if when I referred to an old leopard or the possibility of a leopard attacking somebody, was I referring to the age of the leopard or the person? Both, actually. What I did mean was that an older or sickly leopard will most likely would be the kind of leopard that might attack a human being, but also, I mean, they will also pick up age and health of any human victim or any victim. Right, now there's a huge amount of activity around that leopard, so we're going to try and stay away from him for now, but we'll go there a little bit later. Hello, Anna-Marie. You're speculating on Mvula's injury and how he got it. And perhaps you say it was a territorial dispute with Tingana. Having heard the leopards calling around here and having seen the sort of spaces in which they move, I mean, I haven't been here for very long, I would say that that's a pretty good supposition. That would be my guess. He's obviously taken a swipe to the face, and so if it was a lion or something like that, I think the injury would have been a lot worse. But a leopard also, he would have been facing forward, having a fight with, and so that's quite well possible. The other thing that we haven't considered, of course, or perhaps you have, but I've just thought of, is that he could have, this is Mvula, and for those of you who don't know, he's got a very injured eye. It could have happened on the hunt. I mean, he may have been chasing something and caught by a twig or a log. I mean, I've often snagged various bits of my body walking through the bush here, and the speed with which a leopard attacks, it's well possible that that could have been what happened. Now, I do need to consult the map a little bit because we're here on Arathusa, which is terra incognito to most of us, but we seem to be heading in the correct direction, which is good news. Alright, this is the Arathusa airstrip, Arathusa International Airport. Let's make sure that no A380s are landing. We're going to stop here and have a listen to what we can hear. Oh, there's a lovely Swainson's Franklin there, Phil. Now running down the airstrip at roughly the same speed as the Concorde. You can see the mist. The sun's just coming up behind us. A lovely dawn chorus going on. Go ahead. Okay, copy, thanks. No idea. So I'm just going to warn you quite carefully while we watch the sun coming up that the Tingana is right at the very edge of the area we're allowed to traverse. So if he does go any further west, we're going to be looking for other things, I'm afraid. So this beautiful morning, I just want to tell you what I can hear. I can hear hollow depressions on the ground. They're all starting to call now because the sun's just popped up. And that's a birchall starling you can see flying through the frame there. They'll fly up and down looking for different bits of little invertebrates and insects and things flapping around the place here. Right. we'll... Oh, no, we can carry. That's a beautiful shot of that starling. It's just a lovely, lovely morning to sit and contemplate life. And I'm just continuing to consult the map to figure out the best way to get to the leopard sighting. There you can hear Franklin calling off. Right. Wesley, I believe you have a question about spiders and that there's a bit of a spider theme developing, which is quite exciting. So we'll try and find some more spiders. I'm afraid, Wesley, I didn't quite hear your question. It'll come through again just now, and then I will answer it for you as soon as I can. And we'll try and find some other examples of spiders. Obviously, winter time is not the best time to be finding spiders, but you've seen how many beautiful tent web spiders there are around the place. So we'll see what we can find. I'm just being called by the person with the leopard. Go ahead. Copy, thanks. I'll make my way there now. Right, there is some space for us, so we're going to drive. Okay, copy. We'll come as quick as we can. He is... Copy, thanks. He is heading in a westerly direction, so I'm going to drive relatively quickly, and I'm going to be using some GPS tracking. Oh, we've got some elephants. Now, do we go for... Quickly, we'll have a quick poll. Do we go for the elephants, or do we go for the leopard? Of course, this is highly illegal to be driving down the airstrip. Sorry, confirm he's crossed west. Okay, copy, thanks. We're on our way. If he does cross, it's no problem. Just keep me posted. Did you see the elephants there? That is magnificent. I think we're probably going to go for the leopard, but it looks like he might cross west. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm not copying you. I'm at the Arathusa airstrip. Okay, copy. I'm going to come to you now. I think unless anybody objects, we're going to go quickly to try and find the leopard. All right, and then we'll try and come back and find these beautiful elephants. I don't want to reject them, but I really want to see Tingana and compare him with Mbula from yesterday. Right, hold on. Phil, take your dentures out. Here we go. Big bump here. Bugsy. Don't spill your coffee. speed. Whoa, hold on, Phil. Sorry about the speed. Sorry about the speed, everybody, but if we want to see the leopard, then we need to drive a little bit quicker because he is heading west. We're going past Arathusa Safari Lodge as we speak. Sorry about that. Big bump. About 700 different roads out here, so... Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry about that. Hold on. Hold on. Right, on we go. Okay. Sorry, I keep having to look. I've got a little GPS tracker, which is telling us where we are. Don't really need it on Juma, but this far to the west we do. We don't often come this far west. Thank goodness for technology. Beautiful misty morning, it really is spectacular. Some nyalas, which we're not going to pan to, as we try to negotiate these roads. Bumps. Right, we need to get onto the next main road. Hello, Gerry van der Walt. Yes, we are in a bit of a safari Ferrari. Although I think the makers in Maranello would be slightly ashamed at the speeds that this Land Rover is able to achieve. But we are, yes, we're going as fast as as the Land Rover and the roads will allow, and Phil's dentures. Some chat about the mist going on. It's It's exactly what I think. You're talking about it being fairy mist, and that we drive towards it and never seem to go into it. It's exactly what it feels like. Look at that mist up ahead of us there. Well, you can't actually see it. It looks like sky to you, but to us there's a huge belt of mist in the valley in front. It's gorgeous. And the smell as we drive through this beautiful area is just spectacular. Right. We turn here. I wish you could smell it. The smells of the bush out here are just so spectacular. It's just so fresh. I hope it's worth it, and I hope we haven't neglected those elephants for no reason. Go ahead. Okay, copy, thanks. He's moving north, so he's moving away from us. But we do manage to get there. And so far he's still on the right property, which is good news. And he has taken a few steps further to the east, which is what we want him to do. Through the drainage line. He's in this drainage line system, but quite a lot further north of where we are now. Now, I don't want to make a mistake. Okay. That bigger depression you can see on our right hand side is a naturally forming pan, and that happens when it starts off with a warthog maybe in a puddle, and then maybe a family of warthogs, and then maybe a buffalo comes and digs for a while, and after the buffalo then maybe a rhino comes, and eventually, because the soil there is so clay rich, it becomes a huge wallow, which in the summer months will provide water and mud for the animals that love it. And I must tell you at this stage that my hands are in a state of abject frozenness. I feel like I may get frostbite. But as long as I show you the leopard, it'll be worth it. I think Phil might have frozen stiff on the back. There's very little movement from him. Might have to park him in the sun for a couple of minutes. We're getting closer now. this drainage line that you're probably seeing every so often on the left-hand side is where he's walking parallel with it, and that drainage line is our western boundary, so we can't go across that. So I'm hoping he will not do the same. We are now getting close, which is a good thing. My hands are cold, my nose is frozen, my lips are soon going to stop being able to speak. Hold on. Station in charge of Tingana sighting. I'm on Saffron. Alright everybody, we are getting very close. He's still on the area where we are trying to traverse, so that's pretty good news. I do hope this will be worth it. I'm just so excited to compare him with Mbula. It's unusual to be able to compare two male leopards like this. Alright, fortunately the person who built these roads also put little mountains on them. Not exactly smooth for high-speed leopard chases. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We are in the right place. There's another vehicle. Is he in there?
I've got no clue actually.
Okay. Alright, thanks.
I'm gonna check this.
Sean, I'm at junction with second windmill in Saffron. Okay, I'm just going to be quiet. We're just going to turn off and listen here. Okay, he's just in here. I can hear the vehicles just through there to the left. We're going to try and make our way in there. Station in charge of Tingana sighting. Okay, copy that, will do. Right, hold on tight. Put your head there, Phil. There, I can see the vehicle in front. Unfortunately, I have managed to lodge us. That is not a nice sound to hear. I'm trying to drive a car. Hopefully my bosses ain't watching. There we go. There we go. They have lost sight of him, but we'll keep trying. We're going to try and see if we can get in there. Luckily for us, our little car is a little bit more nimble than some of the others. So we'll follow these other vehicles. You can see the panic is over. I'm not sure if we're going to see him. I know they have lost him, but with any luck we will. Quite a few little drainage lines and things in here which make it a bit difficult. Glad to know that Phil is still on the back. He's starting to thaw. He's getting his zooming fingers ready. Yeah, they found him again. Right, he's just up ahead. He's just up ahead. Off to the right here, Phil, somewhere. See the other, there he is. You got him? Okay, we're going to stop here and just get a quick sight of him. Ah, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that gorgeous? There he is. Oh, that was worth it. That was worth the freezing fingers and freezing nose. Wonderful. So exciting. There he comes. Just let him cross here. Isn't that lovely? Oh, that's beautiful. So we'll probably have to backlight him for a little while before I can get around him. But I hope you all feel like that was worth it. Drive slowly up next to him here. Don't make too much noise, but very difficult not to make noise, obviously, driving through the bush. Now, let's try and compare him with Mvula. I think, yeah, he's probably a similar size, maybe a little bit bigger. Just Phil, you're going to have to watch him here. Sorry. There. There you go. bit of a Ferrari operation going here. There's something going on underneath this vehicle which is not entirely savoury. Thank you, Blair, for your update about the size of the leopards. You say that they are a similar size, which I think is probably right. Something stuck under this car. I might have to get out and get it out. Okay. We're just going to wait and see what's going on here. There seems to be quite a lot of confusion, and I don't want to add to it. Wait. I was just having a quick look under the car to see if he can see anything. Can you see anything? Just stick on the what? Oh, okay. So we'll probably just deal with the stick.
So you've got a big stick stuck
Yes,
underneath your wheel.
I'm going to have to get it out.
Front wheel.
Right, please excuse me 1 second. I have to pull the stick out, otherwise the car's not going to go anywhere. Shout if you see a leopard coming up behind me. I can see no stick here. Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. Here is the offending piece of vegetation, now attached, of course, irrevocably to my earpiece. Right, on we go. Well, at least we got one view of him. I hope we'll get another one. Alright, here we go. And see where the vehicle went. Oh, where did that other car go? Out the back there. Okay. Right. Hold on tight again, everyone. I'm just going to stop here and listen and see if I can hear them. Okay, I can see them through there. How much more of a good view we're going to get. He might go into a clearing, which would be lovely. Watch out there, fool. Just through here. I don't want to destroy that beautiful spider's web there. Still an active one. everybody, I'm not sure we're going to get through here, I'm afraid. I'm just going to have a listen again. They're not too far away. Unfortunately, that stick did hamper us slightly. So we'll push gently through here. You can see them off to our left-hand side. Phil can see them. Hello Gloria. Gloria, thank you for your question. You want to know who do I think is bigger of the two leopards. Just watch your head here, Phil. I think the consensus as explained by Blair seems to be that Tingana is slightly bigger, but that they are a very similar size. And I would tend to agree with that. Now we're seem to be getting a bit closer here. We got him. Okay. Phil can see him, so we're just going to get a bit closer.
At the base of that anthill on the right.
Okay. Oh yes, well spotted, Phil. Just up ahead here. Can you see him? He's going to come around here. He's going to come around this termite mound. Raisa, you want to know about him and the Anderson male and how far into his territory the Anderson male has come. Now I have yet to see this fabled Anderson male, and I don't know how far in he is coming. I can see his tail at full spotted. Full spotted, his tail varies. You can see it beautifully now. Well, I'm not going to go too much further. It's a bit too much push. See if you can get a shot there. Raisa, I don't. So if you could perhaps do a bit of research, you leopard experts there on the World Wide Web. I'd be fascinated to know how far in he could get. And it is just so nice to settle down and sit for a while and listen in the silence of wonderful. It's just great how silent the bush is when we turn the engines off. So I just want you to try and listen and see what you can hear after that rather hairy chase that we did. I think he is going to move again. I'm not sure if you heard that was a vulture flying over, just taking off. You still see him, Phil?
Just on the other side of the green bush.
I'm not going to move at this stage. We're just going to see if he doesn't come out. It's so nice to have everything silent. All right, I'm going to move a bit now. Phil, you ready? Okay. We'll just sneak forward first and then a little bit back. I think we're going to have to go back. Just getting a bit stuck here. There he is, coming up. Some questions about the fathering of cubs. I think of Shadow's cub, perhaps. Sindila. I'm not sure who the father is. Like I say, I've only been here 3 weeks, and I'd love to know from anybody, anybody on the Twitterverse who perhaps has more intel. So you can probably tell. We can get a probability on who is the most likely candidate to be the father by the territories. But females do go out of their territories for mating, and sometimes we don't see that. And so sometimes what who we think the father isn't in fact, but it's most likely that I'm sure that you have seen Karula mating, I think with Tingana, and so it's quite likely that Karula mating with Tingana and Shadow mating with Tingana, so it's quite likely that Shadow's cub, Sindile, is this leopard's son, but could be Mvula's, could even be the Anderson males. I will try and move now and get us into a better position, because that's not a great picture. Stuck here, everyone. Okay, hold on, everybody. We'll get there eventually. Ramay, a lovely question from you. Apparently, Tingana is something of an aardvark specialist. So he likes to kill aardvark or ant bear. And you wanted to know if perhaps he's not waiting for one in that termite mound. He may well be. I must say, it's very unusual that he's become such a specialist, but I'd really love to see that. There's a beautiful shot coming up, I hope. He stays where he is now. How's that for you? Okay, so he's just over there. And he's just looked up because a vulture flew over his head. They will track vultures and just watch carefully where the vultures go. In case there's an opportunity to do a bit of scavenging, and also because they know that lions will follow vultures, they need to be very careful of everything that's going on. It's quite interesting. I mean, isn't that a beautiful shot while I waffle on at you? Quintessential cat shot. It's quite interesting. I've always found that with lions, they're prepared to lie down, and that noise is some Egyptian geese flying overhead. I've always found with lions that they will lie as if dead. And with leopards, they will sleep but they, every few seconds, every half a minute or so, they will lift their heads up and have a look around. They can't afford to be nearly as sleepy as lions can. Hello, Gilly from Wisconsin. Lovely question again. I'm really enjoying this comparison of the two male leopards we've seen in the last 2 days. You say he looks more robust than Tingana, perhaps. And apparently he's supposed to be 9 and Tingana's supposed to be 10, at least the other way around. Tingana's supposed to be 9 and Mvula's supposed to be 10. Now, as I agree, Gilly, I think he does look more robust than Mvula. Mvula, to me, looks very old for a 10-year-old. This looks like a 9-year-old leopard to me, and I would have said that Mvula was maybe because of the amount of trouble he's had, sort of with his eye, and his ears are a lot more moth-eaten, which makes him look a bit older. But I would have said that this leopard I would have said he was quite a lot younger. But, I mean, I may well be wrong. And I think he does look a bit more robust, a little bit more stocky. You know, he's got a bit more muscle mass than Mvula does. And that would be borne out by the fact that Mvula seems to be struggling to hold his territory at the moment. Hello, Jennifer. Another lovely question. You'd like to know, can we see, you saw him in 2013 with a big puncture wound on apparently the left side of his face, and it was very swollen to the extent that you could barely identify him, and you want to know if it's healed. Well, no, you want to know if there's a scar. I'm sure there is. Whether I can see it or not, I don't know. Oh, that's wonderful. I'll just get my powerful binoculars out. They're of the same vintage as Field Marshal Montgomery. I can't see any obvious scarring. I'm sure if we got close enough to tickle him under his eyes, though, we'd be able to see it. But he's obviously, I mean, their ability to heal is quite phenomenal. I can see a slight scratch there under the left eye. That could be the scar. Remember, the swelling that he would have received is probably due to a bacterial infection from whatever bite he had. Here he goes. He's going to sit very still. This is so special. Just look at his dewlap. Dewlap is that flap of skin just behind his jaw. Now, when I was watching Mvula, I didn't notice that he had a decent dewlap like that. That was worth the drive, wasn't it? Right, now I just need to make sure we're not disappearing off the property by mistake. Aye. Come Johnny. Just making sure that we haven't crossed the boundary. No, we're okay. We're all right. Okay, there is a vulture there in the tree. That's his nest, and that's what we disturbed him, obviously, when we came out here. Let's carry on and try and find the leopard. We'll just have a quick look at that vulture. And then he was flying around. As soon as he saw Tingana stop here, he started flying about. But he settled again. Right, so let's see if we can catch up with Tingana. Right, we'll go gently through here. Get that drongo. This is just really worthwhile. While we're following, it's a beautiful shot of a full-tailed drongo. I thought he might do that, sorry. I set Phil up a bit there. Right. See if we can't get another view of that magnificent animal. Moving too fast, which is nice. He seems to be going from termite mound to termite mound, which, as was pointed out to everybody, as seems his want, he's probably looking for aardvark or ant bear. A bit of a bump here, hold on, don't spill your coffee. Or your evening snifter. Wherever you might find yourself in the world. If you've just joined us, we're hot on the trail of a magnificent male leopard. And if you're a new viewer, he's just in front of us there, Phil. You can see his tail walking through the bush there. And if you've just joined us and you'd like to ask any questions at all, please send them on the Twitter handle, #SafariLive, or questions@wildearth.tv if you're on the email. I'm just trying to figure the best route here. Of us there, just making his way along the drainage line. And it's not the easiest place to be driving around, but we are in the Land Rover Defender 90. So if any vehicle can get here, this one can, we hope. It's going to be a slightly tricky bit here. If we get stuck, I apologize in advance. Go, oh, gently done. Umali. bit of a sight of him there. He's definitely going from termite mound to termite mound as predicted. Try and get a slight. Have you got him?
Coming back. Okay, stop.
So we'll just, before we settle too much, let's just see where he's going to go. Now look, there's a bird alarm calling, exactly what Mvula did yesterday. The bird alarm calls and he flicks that little white tip to the tail up. It's fascinating to see. We're going to have to go backwards. Hello, Wesley and Durban. You'd like to know that if a vulture is circling in the sky, does it always mean that there's a kill? The answer is no. Just like happened just now, that vulture flew because he got a fright from the cars and from the leopard, so he wasn't. That was his nest or her nest. The other thing that people make a mistake with is when it gets a bit warmer. So normally around 8:30, 9 o'clock on a winter's day, the air starts to warm, and the thermals start to rise, and then the vultures take off. And they need that hot air to rise, and so they all generally do it at the same time, and they follow each other to the thermals and fly up together. And often that's mistaken for them looking for a kill. When they aren't actually. There's a drongo following us, and he's following us like he would follow a herd of elephants. You know, the elephants kick up the invertebrates, and the drongos follow them, and we're doing the same with our driving through the bush here. He is just up ahead. Hello, Chuck. Nice question. I'm just going to stop here while we wait for that other ranger to get through that thick stuff there. This drongo is right next to us. You were asking about termite mounds, and are the termite mounds that he's looking at, isn't that a wonderful shot, drongo? You wanted to know, are those termite mounds active with termites? And the answer is some of them and some of them not. The second one, absolutely, definitely. And the third one, I'm not so sure. You need to be able to have a bit of a closer look than we have there. Now watch your head here, Phil. Tambuti tree. Don't want to be stabbed by that wood. A little toxic that it is. You through there? Phil's alive. And a crucial part of all this is Phil. Out him, no picture. Likewise, Eugene and Tara in the back rooms, controlling things. Sorry everybody, we will try and get another view. Oh look. Oh, hello Kay in Wisconsin while I extricate myself from this forest. Nice question, really nice, about the mist and it gathering on the leaves and whether animals or birds and insects take advantage of that gathered dew. I haven't seen it happen here, but I imagine that it does. You know, this is a fairly water-stressed area, I mean, certainly in different parts of Namibia, it does happen. I've picked up another branch. Certainly on the dunes in Namibia, there are beetles that have specialized for that sort of thing. And so I imagine there are certainly various types of insects that would do it here. Sorry, I have lost sight of this leopard for now. We have had a great view. There's another termite mound just up ahead, and I wonder if he isn't heading there. Warmed me up a bit, this. We're getting stuck in some pretty thick stuff here. Get your head, Phil. Can you hear the other vehicle, Phil? The Impala alarm calling behind us. Okay, what we're going to try and do is get one more view of him. I'm just going to go towards those Impala, and if we don't see him again, I think we've got a great view, and we'll see if we can't go and find those elephants again, which might be quite fun. We don't want to bash through too much more bush. Is he gone? Who got him? It's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That's even better than the leopard sighting for me. Isn't that special? That is the fork-tailed drongo. So close in on him we can't even see his forked tail. And there it is. This is the same bird that's been following us for the last maybe 10 minutes. Isn't that wonderful? Now he's waiting for us to move on so that he can follow in our wake and pick up some insects and other invertebrates that we might kick up. I can't believe he hasn't flown away. We tried this twice before. even see the little tooth on the end of his beak there. And that he will use to sort of spear or help him grip the invertebrates that he might find. Gorgeous. This is so special. He's calling. Can you hear that? Another one calling just off behind us. And off to the side you can hear some green wood hippos calling. Oh, isn't that wonderful? That is a just wonderful, wonderful shot. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Well done, Phil. Great job. Debbie, you've made the comment that it looked like he had whiskers, and they do. They do have little sort of whiskery type things, and those are to help when they're flying and trying to catch insects. It's to help sort of knock the insects into the mouth. It's like a little net almost. Okay, that it seems to me that the leopard has gone stationary just ahead of us. I think he stopped moving. You know, just drive out that way, and if we're lucky, we'll see him again, and if not, we'll head towards where we saw those elephants earlier, see what we can see. What a great morning. Hello, Gerda. Thank you for your comment. I think the drongo did want his 5 minutes of fame. He got a bit more than that in the end. Well deserved it is too. Thanks for that. Of course, I have to try and extricate myself from this at some stage. Watch out there, Phil. I think he did actually go to this termite mound. I'm not sure if he's still here. Seems to me that he's moved on, so I think we're going to do the same. We're right on the edge of our traversing area. Samantha, a nice question, thank you. What kind of animals would prey on a drongo? Drongos are some of the most aggressive little birds you can find, and what they tend to do is, excuse me, is that they will mob any kind of predatory bird at all. There's a road just up ahead, and so I've seen them mobbing enormous eagles, 2 or 3 of them bombing these little eagles and bombing big eagles. So they don't seem to be caught by them, but I think that their major predator would be something like a sparrowhawk or a goshawk, which would take them unawares. So he has actually crossed out of the area where we were looking, or crossed out of the area where we can go. I think that was probably the impala up ahead. There's one there that was alarm calling at him. So we're going to move from the area and see if we can't go and find those elephants. What a sighting that was. So nice to be able to compare those 2 leopards. So glad I did that. I'm really sorry about the speed with which we had to come here, but in the end I hope it was worth it for you. Just going to find my way out here now. Hello, Suzanne in the Netherlands. You wanted to know, I think, while we were in mid-chase, as it were, how fast we were going, A, and B, do we have a speedometer? The answer is, to the second question, is yes, we do have a speedometer, but if you look, you can probably see it now, it doesn't actually function. We don't worry too much about those sorts of things out here. It looks a lot faster from where you are than it is out here. It's almost impossible to drive on these roads at faster than, unless it's a really flat road, at faster than 20 kilometers an hour. So how many miles is that? That's probably about 32 miles an hour. No, not 32, half of that. About 16 miles an hour. And that's the absolute sort of maximum. In fact, about, 12 to 16 miles an hour. We have a comment from Andrew, who has apparently managed to rise himself out of bed, which is something of a miracle. Andrew, of course, was going to be on camera with Brent today until we had a bit of a problem. And Andrew used to film in the Kalahari with the meerkats there. And he says he has seen a drongo mimic a meerkat call, and in so doing make the meerkat drop its food, and the drongo then stole the food. Thank you for that, Andrew. Glad to see you're out of bed. So we're just going to clean the lens a bit there. Apparently there's a spider web stuck on it from all of the speeding about. Much more relaxed pace we find ourselves going now. Hello again, Wesley in Durban. You want to know how far can a leopard's call travel? The answer is pretty far, depending on the conditions. So if it's a sort of crisp winter's night, I'm just going to get off the road here for this other game drive vehicle. Aye, swifa manjani kwalan. Amikumangan chub. Okay. Sorry, Wesley, about that. I just have to extricate us. Wesley, so on a clear winter's night, you find that sound travels far greater distance than even during a winter's day or on a summer's night. And that, I think, is because of the lack of moisture in the air. And then also, if they call in a drainage line, it tends to sort of tunnel the sound along it. Whereas if they call on a clearing with no trees about, the sound disperses, so it'll probably go further in greater radius, but it won't be tunneled. But you can hear leopards with the human ear, probably from about 300 meters. So quite far away, you can pick them up. With their hearing, they'll obviously pick them up much further than that. I would say at least half a kilometer. Hello, Sandy in Indiana. Nice question. You want to know, can Tingana use his sense of smell at a termite mound to find out if there's an aardvark inside? I would think he probably can, yes. Certainly if there was an aardvark recently there, he'd be able to pick it up with his nose. I'm not sure if we could, but I mean, a lot of the animals here, once you've been out here for a while, even we can start to smell out individual animals. Our sense of smell, if you allow it to, will become a lot more powerful than you think it can, especially if you're a non-smoker and you've spent extended periods sort of in an area like this where foreign smells are not familiar, so you don't have a lot of pollution. Your nose can become really sensitive. Right, we're now heading south towards where the elephants were. I'm not going to go towards them at quite the same speed we left them. Billy in East Vale, California. Not sure what time it is there. Probably quite late at night. Welcome to the African morning. I hope you're enjoying this jaunt about the Greater Kruger National Park. You want to know, do any of the leopards here ever get friendly with us? I'm assuming you mean, do they become sort of over familiar? I tell you the kinds of leopards that do, and I've had 2 or 3 experiences like this. My favorite kind of a leopard out here is a young male before he's got a territory, because they're very curious. And I've had 2 or 3 experiences where I've been walking and either tracked them or just bumped into them, and they stop and they'll look and they'll watch you, and you can almost move with them. They'll approach to a certain distance, but they're quite wary of you, but they're very curious. So there's still definitely a barrier of him being sort of more afraid of you than he is than you are of him. Well, that's what he thinks. And so that's a kind of my favorite leopard interaction to have. A leopard on foot, young male on foot. They're generally not too shy to show themselves to you, which is really quite fun. But normally in these areas, leopards will stay away, or they'll become habituated to vehicles. They can even become habituated on foot, where they won't run away from you if they see you. They will watch you quite carefully. But no, they don't come too close to they don't ever sort of come and become friendly, as it were. Leopards apparently never do that. I mean, you can, even leopards raised from cubs will become, touchy and feely and fairly domesticated, but when they get older, apparently they will always go wild and disappear. Hi Shanae, another great question. How fast can an aardvark move? You reckon quite slow. I reckon compared with a human being, probably quite quick, but compared with a lot of other animals out here, yes, pretty slow. And that's why they tend to be active at night. And so, I mean, their chances of avoiding predators are that much greater. In areas where there aren't that many predators, they will be active during the day. But the one thing that an aardvark can do with astonishing speed is dig. So I know of local people out here who've tried to catch them, and there'll be a team of them with spades. They'll find the aardvark, and the aardvark will start digging a burrow. And that team of 3 or 4 men with spades cannot dig as fast to get after the aardvark as that aardvark can dig himself into the ground. It's quite astonishing. They've got huge claws like that, and very powerful limbs for digging. And I mean, if you've ever touched a termite mound out here, you know how hard, it's almost like cement. Nice question, thanks Sinead. I wish we could see an aardvark, and if Tingana keeps eating them, we won't see that many. Susie and Rick in Hawaii. I think I've had one other question from Hawaii. Welcome. I'm not sure if it was from you or not. Nice to have you with us from all the way in the Pacific Ocean there. I hope it's warm and tropical like we always see it on the TV. You want me to settle a bet for you. Apparently you want to, I'm not sure which side of the bet is which, but you want to know, can a drongo mimic other birds? The answer is absolutely they can. They're not the best mimics though. I've always been amazed at how they try lots of different kinds of birds, and they always seem to do quite a good start, and then they fall off. So they do, for example, they will do a pearl-spotted owl. They do the start of the call. They'll go, and then they stop. Or they do a bit in the middle, like, and they do it in a very high-pitched way that the, I'll try and mimic it for you. So the pearl-spotted owl has got quite a, I mean, it's a tiny little bird, but they've got quite a strong voice. So when they're calling, they'll be going, and the drongo will sort of make a much more sort of wispy sound. They'll go and just do it twice. So I've never been conned by it, but certainly other birds seem to pick up on whatever it is, and they come in and they look, and a drongo imitating a pearl-spotted owl will make another pearl-spotted owl actually call. The best mimics out here are the robins. Not all of them, but the Natal or red-capped robin chat is, to my mind, the best mimic. And also a little sabota lark, which we sometimes get here. They do a really good job of especially the finches and the waxbills and those sorts of birds, they really are very good at mimicking them. But they're very little, and so they struggle with the bigger birds, but they do try them. Hello, Sean in the Netherlands. Welcome to it. In case you've just joined us, everybody, not Sean, obviously Sean's been with us a little while. We are on the hunt for some elephants, and that's why we're heading down towards the south where we saw them before. But Sean, you want to know about honey badgers and are they active in the day? Again, in the absence of predators, they will be. But normally in this area they're active at night. So the less predator pressure that they have, they'll be, the more active during the day they will be. I've seen honey badgers in camp during the day, which is quite interesting, but not at night and at night time. So where they feel safe in a camp environment, they will come out. Edward, you want to know about aardvark and do they tear up, sort of, do they cause damage to dams or things like roads? The answer is not really, Edward, and it's because they only dig when they're looking for termites, and they can tell where termites are from the mounds. So unless there was a termite mound on a road, they wouldn't really dig there. It's not impossible, but and certainly in dam walls you wouldn't find termites. So they tend not to do any damage, no. I mean, they will put holes in various places, and if you're not looking carefully you can drive into them, which I've done many times, of course. But no, they don't cause any sort of major damage. Might have to replace this woolly hat with a cap. Yes. Phil skillfully took the camera off the back of my balding head while I did it, so you won't be blinded. Check where we are. We're getting quite close to where we had the elephants earlier, but they will have moved. So I'm going to go sort of towards the water. They may go down to drink. Christy in Oklahoma, you want to know about anteaters in Africa. So we've been having a conversation about aardvark or aardvark or ant bear. That's one of the sort of anteaters. I'll explain what I mean by the inverted commas just now. And then the other major one is the pangolin, which is Africa's sort of evolutionary equivalent to the armadillo. And they eat ants and mainly termites, though. Most of what we'd call anteaters actually eat more termites than they do ants. But they are similar design to, say, the giant South American anteater, where they have a long, sticky tongue that they'll use to probe into ant nests, or, whoops, I've stalled the car, or into termite mounds, and that's how they get out their prey. So those are the sort of major ant eaters or termite eaters that we get here. If you were to see the front end of, maybe do a Google there, Christy, and you'll see that the aardvark's snout is quite similar to that of a South American anteater. And the tongue is the same. Long and sticky, and they stick it into the holes. Phil, can you focus in on this termite mound here? I'm just going to see if we can't extract the termite. Fear not. We will either eat it or put it back. Of course, what you don't want to do here is get too close to one of these things and find a snake coming out of it. All right, now this termite mound is from a fungus-growing termite, and I can see here that it's probably not active at the moment. There are a whole lot of spiders' webs across the top of the chimneys, and there's no heat coming out of it. So as soon as there's any heat coming out of it, you know that there's sort of metabolic heat coming from the termites, and there isn't any of that in this one. So we won't be able to find a termite here. We'll get one at the next one we come across. Just plug myself back in so that I can retain conversation with you. Shanae, thank you for your question. Would pangolin and aardvark share a burrow? No, they definitely wouldn't. Well, I don't like to use the word definitely ever out here, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. There's some elephant dung, relatively fresh. So elephants don't have burrows at all. A pangolin and an aardvark probably wouldn't share a burrow. In fact, a pangolin probably wouldn't make that much use of a burrow because of his scales. That's sort of, he's carrying his home with him. So no, Shanae. And are they territorial, you asked? They are... No, they're not strictly territorial. So they'll have a home range. They may mark it cursorially, but they won't defend a territory like, say, a leopard would defend a territory. In Los Angeles, thank you for your request for the Swainson's francolin. I love getting requests like that. I do my best to try and find a Swainson's francolin for you. Also, of course, looking for spiders' webs, especially ones that might have spiders in them. Claire in New York, a fascinating question. Thank you. You want to know about the tsetse fly, carrier of trypanosomiasis, say that fast after a few drinks, which is otherwise known as the sleeping sickness. The tsetse fly, Claire, used to be found in this area, and then in about 1896, I think it was, there was a rinderpest epidemic. Now, rinderpest is a disease that cloven-hooved animals get, and it wiped out huge swathes of the game in this area. So the tsetse fly used to cover the area that we're in now. Then the rinderpest wiped out a lot of the game, and as far as I understand it, the tsetse fly died with the game because their hosts were no longer able to survive. And so they disappeared from the area, and they've never come back. There are areas of northern Mozambique and certainly in Botswana where the tsetse fly still exists, and I think up into Tanzania, and they're not great. You say you've read that they don't survive in the sun. I have definitely been bitten by plenty of tsetse flies in the sun, and they're not very easy to kill. They're not like a normal fly which you just squash sort of like that. You've almost got to beat them to death. Nasty little things. They give you a nasty bite. So at the moment we're quite close to the Arathusa waterhole. We'll go and have a quick look there before we press on to the airstrip. I'm hoping that the elephants may have come down to drink there. Kevin in Boston, thank you very much for your question. You want to know about Nyala and bushbuck, part of the Tragelaphid genus. And I read something quite interesting yesterday. They're not even classified as antelope in the strictest sense. And you want to know the differences, and you are quite right. You've said that it looks to you like bushbuck are much smaller than Nyala, and they are much smaller than Nyala. And they have a separate feeding niche where they tend to feed lower down on the ground. So they are different. Height-wise, I mean, you'd never mistake a Nyala bull for a bushbuck ram. Bushbuck ram is much smaller. The horns have only one sort of one curl in them. And they're different. I mean, I'll show you a picture. We're going to stop down at the water here. With any luck, there'll be some bushbuck and Nyala frolicking together. If not, I will show you a picture. Hoping against hope that the elephant have come down to drink. I don't see any at the moment. There are some hippo out of the water, which is nice to see. So we'll have a bit of a chat about them before our quest for the elephant continues. Right. Gerda, another lovely question. You're on fire today. Art, you say, we're talking about all these art animals, which means earth, for those of you who don't know. I think the original root of the word would probably be Dutch. Aardvark, which basically means earth pig, is the ant bear, and then something else we get out here is something called an aardwolf or earth wolf, which is a tiny sort of hyena, but it eats mainly termites and small things like that. I'm just going to stop here. There's a really nice view of some hippo while I answer Gerda's question. Gerda, I don't know of any records of an aardwolf being found here in the Sabi Sands, but there is one record of one just up the road at a place called Tingana, where I used to work. Been seen there once. So they do occur in the Greater Kruger National Park, but they're far more common in more desert areas like the Kalahari. There's some really nice shot of some hippo out of the water. They like to come out of the water in the winter when it's a bit chilly, but like you not wanting to have too many cold swims in the winter time. And you see the tiny little one there. That's very sweet. It always fascinated me, while I find this picture for you, the tragelaphid antelope, it's always fascinated me that a hippo's gestation period, in fact, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to ask you to guess while we're looking at them. Don't Google it. What do you guess that a hippo's gestation period is, given that a rhino's is 16 months, 15 or 16 months? What do you think a hippo, which weighs the same as a white rhino, what do you think their gestation period is? Some aeroplane flying over, going to land next to our elephants. I'm just going to find you a picture of these tragelaphid antelope. I have with me Brent Leo Smith's vast tome on mammals. You'll have to excuse that banging in the background. One picture I cannot find is the tragelaphid. There we go. There we go. So we can have a look here. I don't know if that's too close. Is that too close? Can you get that?
Yes.
Will that be all right?
Mm-hmm. Good.
Okay. So here are the tragelaphid or spiral-horned antelope. Well, they don't have a kudu here. There's the Nyala bull, and there's the bushbuck ram. And they are roughly to scale. So you can see a vast difference in size, a vast difference in color. Bushbuck much smaller, browner, but similar sort of design. You can see they're from the same family, or same genus even. And then a kudu is the same again, as big as the Nyala is to the bushbuck, so is the kudu to the Nyala. And this fascinating creature here, which we don't really get out here, we get it in Botswana, is called the sitatunga. Also a good lip warmer on a cold morning, sitatunga. And they are very similar to the to the nyala in size, but I'm not sure if you can see the shape of the foot there. It looks almost like an alien foot. It's sort of very splayed hoof. And that's because they live in this sort of thick mud around the papyrus beds and on the fringes of the channels of the Okavango and the Linyanti. And that's where they live. Those funny splayed hooves, very obvious tracks when you see them in the ground. I hope that answers your question there about the tragolaphids. The other two, of course, that we get here are the eland and the kudu. Eland, I haven't seen in the Sabi Sands, but they did used to occur here quite a lot. But they do occur a little bit in the Kruger Park, but again, more onto the Highveld in the Kalahari especially. They're quite good animals for domestication. They produce quite good milk, and they show less of a propensity to homicide than buffalo do, for example. Right, on we press. Elephants, here we come. Bye-bye, lovely hippos. Okay, we're going to stop here with a couple of hippo questions, so we'll wait here for a little while. Georgianne, Heather and Deborah, I hope you followed my instruction not to use Google. Well done, I'm most impressed. You have correctly answered that a hippo's gestation period is 8 months. Now, that is amazing to me. A big bull hippo is a 2.5-ton animal. And we, human beings, have a gestation period of 9 months. So we have a gestation period longer than that of a hippo. And a rhino, I mean, you can almost, weight is a fairly good predictor of gestation period. So a rhino you would expect to have a gestation period of about 16 or 15 months, and you'd expect a hippo to have the same. Now the question is why and how on earth is a hippo able to have such a short gestation period and yet be so vast? And the answer, of course, is that their babies don't need quite the same level of protection or precociousness that, say, less or animals that don't live in the water have. So a hippo is by default of its position in the water protected as a baby, and so the expensive, being pregnant is obviously very expensive for a female of any animal to be, and so the shorter the gestation period can be, the safer it is for the female. And so because hippo are protected in the water, they don't have to give birth to babies that are quite as precocious as, say, rhino do. And that's the main reason, I believe, that hippo are born after only an 8-month gestation period. It's quite phenomenal. Cadria, that is a beautiful name. You want to know, is this a hippo family, first of all? And then I'm going to try and identify who's who here. Because we so seldom see hippo out of the water, it's actually quite difficult for me to tell who's a bull and who's a cow. But I'm going to do my best for you. First of all, in terms of family, remember that we quite like to think of animals living in families like we do, or like some of us do, but it's seldom the case. So what the general hippo social structure is a pod of females who may or may not be related to each other, and then a dominant bull who's the sort of, that's his harem, and then the young of those females. And then bachelor bulls will go and live on their own together in a little pod, until they become big enough to try and challenge for a territory and their own harem of females. Now what we have here, if I was to guess, would be this big one standing out of the water, I would say, is the cow. The few behind her seem to be relatively young. So I would say that there's a cow. Obviously you've got the two babies who might be siblings, and they might be, and then possibly the bull in the water. So this does look like a fairly nuclear family affair. I wouldn't like to comment on the one lying down behind the big cow that's standing up. I'm not sure about her. Now, if this one comes out of the water, we'll be able to see if there's a possibility that that's another cow, but he does look quite big. Christine and Carol, you've got some interesting questions. Carol, you want to know, what are they grazing? It looks like they're eating sand. They're not grazing anything is the answer, although they certainly are fossicking for something. The little one on the left-hand side, there on the left-hand side of your picture, was playing with a stick until fairly recently. The big cow has definitely been, I don't know, nuzzling something in the sand there. They may be picking up the odd bit of reed or even dung. They might eat dung for the nutrition that it provides. I'm not sure what, I don't think they're eating. There's the tiny little ones having a yawn. In terms of staring at the sand, I must confess, I agree. I agree that they look like they're staring gormlessly at the beach, in a kind of state of a somnambulance. It's really quite amusing to watch. Like they can't decide whether they want to be asleep or awake. Sharon in Pittsburgh. Sharon in Pittsburgh, you ask a question and kind of answer it yourself, because you are correct that the pinkness, you can't really see it here. The big cow that's standing there, you can see it around her eyes and the back of her ears. The skin is quite pink there. They do produce a sort of pinkish slime as a sunscreen. I think that skin there, because it's not exposed to the sun, it's the skin behind the ears and the skin under the belly tends to be pinker. I would say that that's just the color of the skin. I don't think that's the pink slime. But Sharon, you are absolutely correct that they do produce a pink slime to protect themselves from the sun. What an evil smelling slime, if I'm not mistaken. It's just a plane taking off from the Arathusa International Airport. I'm just going to reverse one little notch here. There is another hippo behind this knobthorn tree. In fact, there are another 2 or 3. See that there, fool? Just behind this sort of dead tree over here. Bev in Durban, you have there are another 2 or 3 here. I suspect these are young bulls. You want to know, do they give birth in the water? And because and you're a bit worried about whether they attract predators or not with the afterbirth. I have records of hippo giving birth out of the water. I have heard that they do give birth in the water. I've never seen it myself. They're not that worried about predators, you know. They're so protective and so big that crocodiles tend to avoid them fairly assiduously. So, yes, the afterbirth may attract predators, but you'll probably find that the hippo might even eat that afterbirth. I'm not entirely sure, though. So I would say that those are young bulls that are probably very wary of the big fella that just got out of the water. Billy in California, how long do hippos live? Billy, I'm going to confess to you that were I to give you an answer, it would be a flagrant guess and therefore likely to be a lie. I'm going to look it up while we're sitting here quickly. I'm going to give you a guess first and say that I think they've probably got, they don't have a length of a life as long as that of a rhino, for example. But let me just check. I think it's about 20 to 25 years. Hello, Pam in Colorado. I'm afraid you are veiled of more facts than I am at this point. You say that you've read today that hippo milk is pink. I wonder if it's strawberry flavored. I'm afraid I can't confirm nor deny that. I haven't seen it, but it's quite possible. I'm not sure what would make it pink, but I will try and do some research on that. Thanks for that information. I love learning things like that. Let's try and get you the age here of the hippopotamus. Hello, Blair in BC, Canada. You want to know, do the hippo eat that floating vegetation? I've not seen it. I'm going to assume that they probably take the odd mouthful. Normally they'll look for fresh grass. And if you look around this dam, if you can just zoom out a little bit, Phil, and sort of pan to the left there, you'll see as we go around the vegetation of the dam that it's very short. And the grass will be kept short like this by the hippos when they come out to graze. So they don't eat a great deal in the water. I'm sure they must eat a little bit of water vegetation sometimes. Very nice ID from some of you of the jacana or lily trotters knocking about behind the hippo. That's absolutely correct. There are jacanas, and while I look now, I'm just looking in front of the hippo. There's a... Phil, can you see that bird in front of those young bulls? It's some form of heron, but I actually think it might be a dwarf bittern. No, it's not. It's a green-backed heron. Green-backed heron. We'll just get in there on him. That's him, Phil, there, just in front of the birds, of the hippo there. I'm afraid I can't find the age of a hippo, so I'm going to ask you all, there availed with, as you are, with Google and all the information that goes with it. If you can find out how long a hippo lives, that will be marvelous. Ramey, you want to know if an elephant will kill a baby hippo? If it was a very upset young elephant bull, it might. Certainly elephant have been recorded killing rhino before. Normally, traumatized young bulls are the ones that are responsible for such atrocities. So it's quite possible that they might take their frustrations out on something like a hippopotamus, were they to find them out of the water at night. I've not heard of any records of it, but it's certainly possible. But I wouldn't worry too much about them. I think they spend so much time in the water that it's unlikely. Elizabeth in Minneapolis, you want to know what I would do if I found myself in a body of water with hippo. Now this is to presume that I had not noticed the hippo before I went for my swim. The answer is that I would be instantly transformed into a swimmer who could easily beat Michael Phelps over 100 meters in the freestyle. I would have to get out of the water very fast. Hippo, if you don't go too close to them in the water, will normally leave you alone if you're moving away. But if you get into their space, you'll be in horrible trouble. And another nice spot from Joanne in Arizona, who spotted a pied wagtail. I did see him knocking about. He is around somewhere. He's a little bird called a wagtail, ironically, not so ironically, because he wags his tail. So we've got quite an array of little birds going on here. And there's a hornbill flying over. Harlequin Dreams, lovely Twitter name that, probably not the one your parents gave you, but a beautiful name. And Dave, first in with the hippo answer, the age, 30 to 40 years, or 40 to 50 years, sorry. That, I have heard that before actually, now that I come to think of it. I suspect that's probably in captivity, but longer than I thought it was, certainly. Thank you very much for that. Please keep me informed. I tend to learn probably more than you guys do on these drives, which is excellent. Hi Dave in Toronto. I have cousins in Toronto. I'm not going to ask if you know them because I know it's a relatively big city. And you want to know, or you've seen a TV, and you want to know, or you've seen a TV program with hippo eating other hippo, or eating carcass, or sampling some form of carrion. They do that fairly regularly, actually, or more regularly than a lot of the other herbivores do. So a hippo will sample or taste carrion every so often, probably because there's just so much more protein and it's more easily available in meat than it is in grass. So they will from time to time sample that, and they won't really worry whether that's a hippo, an impala, or any other kind of animal. So yes, it's slightly disturbing to watch when we have our. We don't really like to talk about cannibalism, but yes, they will certainly do that from time to time. Right, so we've had a bit of a request to try and have a look at the jacana, and I was just thinking about it. I'm just trying to find it again. It seems to have absconded, but we'll find him again. He won't have gone far unless he's decided that he is so offended by us he can't be here any longer. There he is. Okay, so Phil, if you go to the right of the hippo, quite far, and then you can just see him there. To the right of the hippo on the island of weed just beyond that. So that's the heron. You just go right from there. Keep going right. Right, no, other right. So you want to go, no, that's left. That's my left, anyway. There we go. Okay, keep going. There he is, that's in there, in frame. Right, so that's the jacana. Lily trotter, called a lily trotter. They've got very long splayed toes, which they use to hop about on the lilies. And what that does is it spreads their mass, so they don't sink. They don't sink any of the vegetation that they're standing on. For me, the most interesting thing about a jacana is that they are what we call, I've just got to get this word correct, it slipped me mind here. It'll come back to me. Basically, the word means that they will have more, the females will have more than one husband, which is fascinating. And it's fascinating because it's not the only bird that does it. And it's also, if you think about it carefully, they're the only animals that can, or animals that lay eggs can afford to do that. Whereas any sort of mammal, the advantages of doing that are outweighed by the disadvantages. So, for the jacana, what she will do is mate with a number of different males, lay her eggs in various different nests, and the males will then look after them, and she will disappear off and do her thing. Now, what the important part of that is that it's possible to do that if you're an egg layer. It's not possible to do it, obviously, if you are a mammal, for example, which gives birth to live young. So that's why you find in birds it's relatively common, and in mammals it's almost totally unheard of that a female will have. Isn't that great? Isn't that a wonderful sound? So that's the hippo. They don't tend to do much while they're doing it. The fat lump on the island, who we just saw climb out of the water, did sort of do a bit of a jerk, but that was about it. So, Edward, thank you for your research. You've done some research on the massive information highway that is the interweb, and you've come up with that hippo milk is in fact white, but that it might mix with the pink or red skin secretions that would give it then a pinkish color. And that sounds more likely to me. Thank you very much for that, Edward. We still are unaware as to whether it's strawberry flavored or not, but I doubt it. Okay, we are going to leave this waterhole now I think we've spent enough time with the hippopotami, the jacana, the heron, the drongo. There are also some grey-headed sparrows, some oxpeckers, some starlings. And I'm just going to take my jacket off, so excuse the noise. It's getting quite warmish here out in the sun. There we go. Right. Okay. That is Arathusa Safari Lodge that you can see at the moment. One of the more famous lodges in the Sabi Sands. Right, on we go. Marvellous sighting that was. And you can see how the light has become slightly washed out as the day has developed. Hello, Ramey. A question about the crocodilian and whether there was a crocodile in the dam there. It's possible. I didn't see one. It's sort of the right size for there to be a crocodile or two, but I didn't see one in there. Turning into a rather beautifully warm day, I must say. Seems to have been some elephant activity down this road, so we may be lucky. Just as the heat builds, so my favourite midday bird, the white-browed scrub robin, starts to call. There's a kudu. Phil, if you can see if you can get in on his... I don't want to drive off-road here, he'll run off. Just a quick shot of him there. It's a kudu to the left. It's really nice. He's just going behind a bush now, unfortunately. We might get a quick view of him. There he goes, walking through there. And you can just see the size of him compared with a Nyala. The kudu bull is about 270 kilograms, and the Nyala probably just pushing 120. Right, that was our kudu sighting for the day. Kadria, Jane and Donna, thank you very much for your answer. You told me it was the word that I'd forgotten, and the word is polyandrous for the jacana, which takes herself more than one husband. Thank you very much for that. Polyandrous. Excuse me. Small frog in my throat. And I'm not sure if you can feel it from where you're sitting now. And I kind of bang on about this every day, but it's just so obvious to me how the bush becomes a far more relaxed place at this time of the day. Excuse me. Brief bout of consumption. Ooh, sorry about that, Phil. Don't worry, Phil's still on the car. Says he's harnessed himself in. Doesn't like to drive with me unless he's tied himself firmly into his seat. Fair enough. A whole lot of dead trees around here. If we look around here, some sort of dead knob thorns and dead leadwood trees, mainly knob thorns, I think. And what you'll probably find is that they were killed by elephants which defoliate or debark them or ring bark them. And it makes these beautiful skeletons, especially if you're looking at the sun rising or setting through them. They're a lovely way to frame, which is exactly what Phil did this morning when you first saw us. Right, we're in the area exactly where I thought the elephants would be. We're just a bit north of the Arathusa airstrip. We'll go and have a quick look at the airstrip. And then make our way back onto Juma. It's been a rather productive morning here in Arathusa. Terra incognito to the west. Hello, Jules in the UK, Azumi of fine repute. You want to know if there's any animal in the Sabi Sands that I have yet to see that I presumably would want to see. I haven't seen a serval in the Sabi Sands. Well, I have seen one before, but not in the Sabi Sands, so I'd really like to see one of them. And also a caracal. I enjoy the small cats. So caracal and serval would be the two things that I'd like to see on my bucket list of Sabi Sands animals. Hi, Carol in Santa Monica. Lovely question, which we could probably discuss for a couple of hours, but I'm not going to try and bore you to death. You want to know why it is that only oxpeckers seem to feed on the ticks off animals' backs. The answer is that they've evolved into that trophic niche. Now, trophic means feeding, so they've evolved into the trophic niche. They've evolved the bill, the correct bill, the mechanism for using it, and that's ideal for collecting ticks off fur. So they don't have a beak like a hornbill's, for example, which is adapted to picking the delicate things off the ground, or an eagle's beak, which is designed to hook meat. They've got little, very fine sort of teeth, I think the red-billed oxpecker anyway, very fine sort of serrations, which help them to comb, it's like a comb almost, to comb the ticks off the fur. And no other bird has evolved that sort of strategy. But there are other birds that will clean, do a cleaning job. If you look at crocodiles, sometimes you'll find egrets picking things out of their teeth. So they'll lie with their mouths open, and egrets will come and pick bits and pieces of carrion out of their teeth, which is it's absolutely amazing that the crocodiles don't seem to swallow the birds. Look at the airstrip here. There's some impalas, and we'll just go and then we'll turn on and we'll make our way back towards Juma. Hello, Penny Pine. You want to know about the plant that I mentioned. Sorry, I'm just looking down the airstrip here. I'm not ignoring you. You want to know nothing on the airstrip. You want to know about the plant that I mentioned, that if you chew it, you will think of the one you love. It's not quite that. The plant is called the leopard orchid, and I'm going to try and find some. But what you have to do is you have to pick the cane and you chew it in the light of the full moon. Apparently the full moon makes all the difference. And you say the name of the one you want while you are chewing it, and he or she will immediately become infatuated with you. Like I said before, multiple random trials of this have failed to produce results for me. Wesley, you want to know about spiders. I think I did get this question from you earlier, but I was knocking about the place and probably didn't answer it. You want to know about spiders on, well, act like oxpeckers on an animal? No, they wouldn't really. It's not impossible that you would find, say, a jumping spider, which might leap onto the back of an animal as it goes past, and then randomly sort of find a tick or some other kind of ectoparasite to eat. That's possible, but there are no spiders that I know of, and I might be misinformed, but there are no spiders that I know of that live on animals specifically to do that. It'd be quite an interesting way for them to live. I think that'd probably be fairly quickly eaten by the oxpeckers though. What did you see, Phil? We've got a bit of a spider's nest here, keeping with our spider theme for the day.
Stuck on the end of the scrunch.
Say when. Oh, there we go. Community West Nest Spider. Alright, I'm going to try and get a bit closer to it. So I'll bring it down a bit. I won't bring it to you, but just bring it down. So, this is the community nest spider. This is sort of how they begin their webs. This is a particularly small and fairly poor colony, I feel. Not much luxury in this one. In fact, I think it's probably been disused. If you give them a little tap, sometimes they come out, see what's coming to get you. They're tiny little spiders. They're only about that big. There's one. There is one inside. No, it's not. It's an ant that's been caught. I'm feeling like I should rescue him because I don't think there are any spiders there to eat it. There, who says we don't ever interfere? I just rescued an ant. My good deed for the day. I wouldn't have rescued him if I thought there were spiders in the web, though. I wouldn't have deprived them of their meal. So that's the community web spider. Lots of different, lots of spiders will live in them. I think that one is disused. It sure is warming up. We've got a lovely question from Liz in Wisconsin. You'd like to know why we don't get so many baboons in this area. I have to tell you, I can't answer that. I've been most surprised by it myself. The only thing that I can think is that troops of baboons will often concentrate along rivers. So where there are good roosting sites for them to rest at night, away from the attentions of various predators, and possibly also more near sort of fig trees where there tends to be a bit of fruit quite often. But otherwise, I don't really know. There are certainly plenty of drainage lines around this area where there are big trees where they might roost. So I'm not really sure. I know there is one big troop that lives around Arathusa camp, but on Juma I've yet to see more than one baboon, which is very interesting. Thanks for that, Liz. Thank you everybody for your questions. We do get hundreds of questions during a drive, and we do try and get to them all. So if we haven't got to a question of yours, please don't despair and don't get too upset with us. We will endeavor to get to your questions. And we do appreciate all of your questions. Remember, there are no stupid questions. There are plenty of very stupid answers, but not many stupid questions. So just understand that we do appreciate all of your questions, even if we don't get to them sometimes. So in the next minute or so, we will cross back onto Juma. And then it will be almost time for me to greet you, say goodbye. As I said yesterday, it's highly unlikely that we'll feed Eugene anymore if he hasn't managed to fix the other vehicle. That said, the poor man has been working day and night to try and fix Wendy. She's a recalcitrant old girl, is our Wendy. Maddie from Scotland, a fascinating observation. You've been in the Kruger recently and you saw a hippo licking a crocodile. I have to tell you that I'm astonished to hear that, first of all. I've certainly never heard of it before. Please excuse the bouncing about. Why it would do that, I really couldn't tell you, other than maybe there's some form of nutrition on the crocodile's back. I don't know, and why the crocodile would tolerate it when I've heard of hippo killing crocodile, I don't know. I suspect there are a few things that hippo do, especially around crocodile, that defy belief or defy our understanding of what that relationship is. Now, they've evolved very closely together, and you might find that they have developed some form of communication, some form of cooperation that we are not yet aware of. And that would certainly point to that sort of thing, Maddie. That's really fascinating. I hope you mentioned it to some of the Kruger staff, because I'm willing to bet they've never seen that either. Right, well, we're on to Juma. We'll pop past the place where we began this morning. We've had quite an adventure today. African wildcats do occur in this area, yes. Nocturnal, very sort of secretive. Yeah, I'm missing your question, Joanne. An African stone cat. Joanne, in Arizona, I'm afraid I've never heard of an African stone cat before. Oh, chat. Right, okay, I've got it now. Stone chat, the bird, African stone chat. Yes, they do occur in this sort of area, in this general area, not so much on Juma. They more need open areas with rocks. So I haven't seen one here, but I have seen them in the Sabi Sands. Lovely question, thank you, Joanne. Sorry it took me so long to get it into my head. think we're going to stop where we began. A little steenbok to our right, but he's going to run away. So here we are at the very point at which we began our little safari adventure this morning. I have had a magnificent time. I hope you have too. We've seen some wonderful leopard. It was really nice to have your contributions, especially about Tingana. I'm so glad I've seen those two leopards so soon after each other. My personal opinion is that Tingana is bigger than Mvula, and I would be fascinated to know exactly if somebody's got a very accurate record of when Mvula was born. I wouldn't be surprised to find that he's older than 10. You know, Tingana is, I still don't think Tingana is a particularly large leopard, but he's a male in his prime, for sure. And Mvula just looks like he's come to the edge of that sort of period of his life and maybe be starting to edge down towards, you know, his territory being more and more pressured by younger leopards. So thank you so much for your contributions. For 3 hours you've had me waffling on at you, and the only reason I've been able to do that is because of the wonderful questions and comments that you've all made, so I really appreciate that. I want to thank Phil on the back, who will have to tape back together after the ride to the leopard. Sorry about that, Phil. Tara in the control room, who's multitasks like a champion. Eugene, who will not be eating breakfast until he's fixed Wendy. And Brent and Andrew, who have just managed to get out of bed, which is very nice for them. We will see you in the afternoon. Thank you. And I hope that you will join us this afternoon for the evening safari and the glorious African sunset that is bound to thrill us. We'll see you later.